Hey everyone, welcome back to Plan to Be Perfect, and I have a new video for you, and today's video is going to be all about how I manage my classroom with behavior. And I have a system that really works well for me. I've been doing it for about a year or two, maybe this is my third year using this, and I've recommended it to others. Some people say that it works and they love it. Some people works a little bit for a short amount of time, but I've noticed that the people that say that it only worked for a short amount of time, they weren't always consistent with it. It is something that you definitely need to be consistent with. It does work better if you start off at the beginning of the year or the semester or sometime like that. If you try doing it in the middle of the year, it depends on like how well you explain it and how consistent you are. It could work, but I recommend starting at the beginning of the year, or if you're just learning about this and you're already midway through the year, maybe start next quarter or the next semester with this. But basically how I take care of behavior issues, I explain this really well at the beginning of the year, and I tell the kids that basically at their first offense, if they break one of my rules that I have posted in my room, which is right there, but if they break one of those rules, then they get a warning. And my warning is as simple as, John, this is your warning. And I don't allow them to hear agitation in my voice or frustration, because sometimes that's what they want. So it's just really important that you don't show too much emotion in that warning. Yelling the warning doesn't work. It's just going to make the situation more escalated. So I just make sure that it's a very even tone, but still a firm voice, so that they know that you're serious. Joking around with the warning doesn't work. I never joke around with it. I just, firm voice, this is your warning, move right along like nothing happened. So they get a warning first. After that, I really don't say anything else to them unless it's totally necessary. So after that first warning, I get one of these. Well, I wrote up. So I get a thing of sticky notes, and I basically walk around with this, or after a while I don't even have to walk around with it because the kids are so used to it. I don't really need this that much. After warnings, usually I'm done. But I will keep this handy, and after the first warning, if the same kid does something else that's breaking one of my 5 rules, I take this blank sticky note and I just place it right on their desk, and it stays there. And they are instructed at the beginning of the school year that once they get that they're supposed to write their name on it and leave it on the desk. I also tell them the very first time that I explain this whole process that this is not a time to argue. If I made a mistake, which I do make mistakes sometimes I'll think one person's talking and it's somebody else. If I made a mistake, you'll have a chance to explain yourself, but the time and place is not during class, and I make sure that is totally clear. So I'm pretty sure that my students don't freak out about getting a post-it note, because either one, they're wrong and they know they're wrong and they got caught, or 2, they know that if I was wrong, that I'll own up to it and admit that I was wrong and I'll apologize to them. And I make sure that's very clear on the first day. So that kind of eliminates people really freaking out about getting a post-it note. So I'll put the post-it note on the desk and they will write their name, and the post-it note stays on the desk as like a visual cue for those kids that forget that they got in trouble. So it's like a visual cue for them to tell them, okay, you got in trouble one time, this is your warning. Like, so you can constantly see this post-it note in front of your face that you're going to get in trouble if you do something else. So a lot of times I don't have to do anything after that. I maybe give out, on average, maybe 1 post-it note a week, if that. I really don't have to give out post-it notes that much. But if they do, perchance, break another rule, then I will take the sticky note, I will place it on my desk somewhere that I will see it before class is over, and it has their name on it, obviously, And that immediately tells them they need to see me after class. And it's not something I will remind them about. Just the fact that I took the sticky note means they're supposed to see me after class. And I tell them this the very first day, that if I take your sticky note, you see me after class. And basically, if they don't see me after class, I'll immediately call home and tell their parents of what happened that day. If they see me after class, they have more of a chance not to get in trouble, really, because that's what I'll counsel with them, try to get to the bottom of the issue, see what we can do to fix it. However, if this is like the second time that they're having to stay after class within a short amount of time, then I will let them know in that after class meeting, I will let them know, okay, it's time for me to call your parents because this is the second time I've had to keep you after class. And that kind of, braces them for it. And I mean, it works. I think I've only had to do that once so far this year, and I was consistent with it, and I did email the mom, and she dealt with it, and I haven't had a problem since then. So it definitely works if you're consistent with it. Now, what happens after you take the sticky note and you meet with them? Like I said, after the second time I'm meeting with them, I do contact the parents, and from there on I follow the school's regimen of like how to deal with behavior, which is like a parent conference, meeting with the principal, referral, all that stuff. Now obviously if it's a really big infraction like a fight or cursing or something like that, then I will just immediately write them up. But other than that, I use the sticky note procedure, and I love it because it takes away me having to keep saying, Johnny stop, Johnny this, Johnny that. And the hardest part though that I found is when you have a chatty class and it's hard to tell who's talking. And in those situations, I tend to say, okay, this is a class warning because the entire class is talking, so the next person that I see talking out of turn will get a sticky note. And I just look for, if it happens again where the class is all talking, I will look for who's talking in first person, bam, or I'll just like pay really close attention and just give out sticky notes left and right, and that usually shuts them up for a while. So that's what I do in my classroom. It really does work well for me. Like I said, the only challenge tends to be when you have a class full of chatty people and you just have to nip it in the bud, and after you do that, it works well again. But I love it. If you have any suggestions on how to make it better, or maybe you do something like this already and you'd like to tell me what you do in your class, I would love to hear about it. So just leave it in the comments below, and please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. And stay perfect. Don't forget.